Today's the International Day of Play. Welcome to Porch Play Chats, sponsored by the American Association for the Child's Right to Play, or more affectionately titled IPA USA. And today is the International Play Day. So I hope you're out there playing with children, even though you won't hear this on June 11th, 2025. Today, when we're recording it, is the International Day of Play. So our goal this year for folks was to please play all day with children and let children lead the play. So we're hoping that you're doing that on the International Day of Play. So Porch Play Chats are these conversations with people who are just as passionate about play as we are. And you can find all of them, and there's almost 300 of them on our YouTube channel, the IPA USA YouTube channel, as well as they're being loaded up very slowly to Spotify. You are in for a treat when you begin to look at those over almost 300 sessions, because there are sessions on anything you could ever be interested in, all about the importance of play for young children. So I'm Deb Lawrence, and I'm president of IPA USA. With me on the porch today is Ellen Cogan. Hi, Ellen.
Hi, it's good to see you again.
Good to see you. So Ellen has been involved in early childhood education from her undergraduate days, many lifetimes ago. She's just a spring chicken. She is a prolific presenter at conferences. She does consulting. She used to be the co-chair. Are you still the co-chair of the Westchester branch of NAYC?
Well, it sort of hasn't had any meetings in a while because I can't get a hold of the other co-chair, but
no, so we need to talk to them. And then her website is earlychildhoodinfo.com. And if you need, is that right?
Childinfo.com.
Earlychildinfo.com. Is that not
right,
what I
not
said?
childhood. Because when I got that domain, early childhood would have been too many characters for the domain.
Well, it's so funny because
Early child info.
Earlychildinfo.com is what is written here, and I just put in the extra stuff.
Yeah, everybody does. In your head, it's childhood.
I know, it's so crazy. So Ellen's going to talk to us today about adults and play. Ooh, let's go. What's that about?
Can I share a picture?
Oh, yeah. Hold on. Let me give you permission to do that. It takes me a second. I love pictures. And then let me go here and give you permission. You now have permission.
Okay, there should be a little thing under here that says share.
It has a little green arrow.
I don't see it.
So it's down at the very bottom.
Share, got it.
Go.
Okay. Can you see it?
I cannot see it yet. So make sure you click on there we go. Something's coming. Oh, okay. Look at that. Is that Walter?
Yes, it is. That's me with Dr. Drew at the NACI conference in 2023. And you can see I'm still wearing glasses back then before my cataract surgery.
I see that there. Walter is one of my heroes and mentors. I love Walter.
So I wanted to put that up there because I did a workshop recently, and in the research for the workshop, I came across a conference that took place in New York in 2017. They had more than 400 participants from more than 60 programs in the New York area.
Wow.
And Dr. Drew and Dr. Marcia Nell, who I'm sure you know also, were the facilitators. And they opened with the question, when was the last time you joyfully played? So I was talking about this to one of my early childhood buddies, and she said, oh, adults play all the time. And I say, really?
Really?
Oh, yeah. They play sports and cards and board games. And I said, aha, They play things with rules.
Mhm.
Even handheld games have rules. Creative play has no rules except for safety.
I love
It's
that.
spontaneous. It makes use of imagination and wonder. And that's the difference. So when I did more research, I found that one of the hardest things that people had to do at that conference was individually play silently for 15 minutes.
Yes.
They wanted to talk to each other. They wanted to ask. It was very, very hard for them.
Mhm.
And then it was followed by cooperative play for another 15 minutes. So my workshop that I did recently was in a local organization, and there were all kinds of crazy time problems. We started late, we had to end early. So I gave them 7 minutes to play spontaneously at their tables and all kinds of toys and things. And then I said, I just had time to ask them 1 or 2 questions. Oh, and one thing I did was borrowed from a different workshop I had, where I had them stand up and put their hands behind their backs so they couldn't fix anything,
Mm-hmm.
and walk around all the tables to see what everybody had done.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So they could see the enormous breadth and differences that people who knew each other
Mm-hmm.
and who were familiar with the materials
Mm-hmm.
did separately and independently.
Using their creativity.
And then they got to form little groups and make something together. And that was a whole different ballgame, because then you had the dynamic. So when they finished, I didn't have time for much discussion. But I said, how did you feel when you had an idea and somebody else said, no, let's do this?
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel when you didn't even get a chance because somebody else said, why don't we do this? And other people said, yeah, let's do it. And there you were. Because that relates to so often how the children feel
Mm-hmm.
when they're playing. So when we participate in the kinds of things that children do, we can get more of an idea of what's in their heads.
Yes. If we just watch it and don't just say it's just play, right? That's
Never not just play.
exactly. I mean, you can learn so much just when you're observing children. You can pick up on their interests. You can sort of imagine which play schema they're working on. There's just so much if you know what you're looking for. And so sometimes I think, we just say, oh, they just played. Well, that's,
And I posed a question.
mhm.
I said, how would you feel about 2 minutes in if I went over to you and said, what are you making?
Oh, yeah.
That stopped them dead in their tracks.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, if I were a child and somebody said, what are you making? I would say, how on, and then I realized I was in a nice setting, and I said, how on earth would I know?
How would I know? And so you're talking
Just
about
using materials and seeing what develops.
exactly.
Which is why you never, ever, ever, ever should say, what are you making?
yes, and you change your mind. I went through the play experience with Dr. Drew. Boy, I think it was like maybe 1994 when I went through the play experience with Dr. Drew. And it truly, I thought I had a fabulous, I was the director. I thought I had a fabulous program. Oh, boy, you know what? It was 1992. It was a long time ago. That's how long they've been doing it. And I thought we had a fabulous program. I had fabulous teachers. We had a fabulous program. I went back after that and said, I've always been a play advocate, but we were doing things that were interfering with play. And so the book, I'm going to tell you what the book is because that's what I've been looking for. Hold on, I just lost it. The book is hold on, I'll keep looking. I just had it and I don't know what I did with it. Here we go. Let's see if I can find it. From Play to Practice is the book that he and Marcia wrote. Connecting Teachers' Play to Children's Learning. That's the book. It's also on my bookshelf and a fabulous book. But the play experience, what you were doing with those individuals, is something I just did at a professional development session at a private school, where what was interesting is that when they played better in their solitary play than they played in their cooperative play.
Yes.
Isn't that interesting?
Because and I put a caveat on it. I said, adults usually play things with rules. I said, except artists. When artists create, they know how to create. But the rest of us, even artists who are not in the process of creating, tend to not think of ourselves as creative.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, I don't think I'm creative at all. Yeah.
So asking a child, what are you making?
Mm-hmm.
At the beginning, they have no clue. Towards the end, it's like, what? You can't tell what I'm making? Uh-oh, I must not be good at this because otherwise you would know.
Mm-hmm.
That's like when they make a picture and you say, what is it? That's like a poison thing to say because they either know what it is and you're supposed to know what it is, or they don't know what it is and you put them in a position where they're supposed to lie to you and tell you what they think it is. Or you think it's something that's not it and they feel incompetent. Now, why would we want to do that to children?
And it's one of those open-ended questions that teachers have been trained to ask, certain number of times in an hour, which are so interrupting what children are thinking, what children are doing, and their purpose. And when I did that play experience 100 years ago with my loose parts, I changed my mind 7 times before. And at the end, I couldn't tell you what I did. I could tell you why I did it.
Yep.
I had a purpose, but I had no end in mind. But it took me 4 or 5 times. I tried, and then I try again, and then I change my mind, and then I try again. But yet we expect kids to be able to tell us what it is they're doing, and that just shuts down the play.
Yeah, it absolutely does. So then I followed it up with questions like, what do you do next? And this was a mixed group. They were not all educators. Very few of them were educators. So I said, if you have children, after they go to bed, use some of their toys. Try using them in ways that are different from what you saw them do. Not to say, oh, look what I did with your toys. Make sure you put them back. So,
right. And don't move them from one area to another. Yeah.
But that you can feel what it feels like to do something new. And think, How did it feel? Did you have fun? And what adult toys do you have? My favorite toy is my air fryer.
Oh, there you go.
I make great stuff with it, and sometimes not so great, but you know, that's the joy of being creative.
Mm-hmm.
So try something you never did before and think about it. Just don't say, oh, yeah, good, or uck, but think about it. How did you feel while you were doing it?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to modify it in some way and try it again? Do you think, oh, well, this is for other people. I'll try something else next time.
Right.
But
Obviously,
make
this is self-care.
evaluative decisions for yourself without involving anybody else.
Mhm.
Just reflect and give children time to reflect.
And what was their response to, like if you said if you were going to do something different tomorrow, or if you were if you were in a group of children, what might you say instead? What did you make? Did they have any feedback on that?
It was very short, so I had to give them the feedback. And what I did was say, excuse me,
Mhm.
what I did was say, instead of what did you make, which puts them on the spot, comment on something without judgment
Mhm.
that you see. I see many colors. If it's three-dimensional, I see it's high over here and low over here. Zero in on some aspect that shows I see you, because that's what they want. They want to know, do you see me? Do you know what I'm doing? Is what I'm doing important to you? So when you look at the specifics, if they're making a picture and there's color all over it, then you can say, I see many colors. I see more colors on the paper than in the little bottles. How did that happen? Open-ended. And not to say, can you tell me more about it? The answer to that is yes. Doesn't mean I have to tell you more about it. Yes, I can. It's a yes or no question. I would like to know more about it.
Mhm.
How did you choose these colors?
Mhm. Mhm.
Those are the ones that were there, lady. You could get some of these smart answers. But most of the time, you get such interesting, thoughtful answers from children when you ask open-ended, involved questions that say, I see you.
Yes.
I see this area of the paper is all filled in, and this area of the paper has some spaces that are empty.
Mhm.
I think that's kind of interesting.
Mhm.
And then they might say, I didn't have time to fill it all in.
And that's what they might say, but you weren't criticizing
No.
and you were just observing what it
Once
is
I
that
said
they had
something
done.
like that, and they said, because this is where they go, and this is just the yard.
Oh, there you go. Perfect.
Great. It doesn't all have to be filled in. But the idea is you are seeing it and you are paying attention without directing it.
Mhm. And I think that's so hard for us to do because what were we told? You know, oh, good job, good work. Oh, um, that looks beautiful. Oh, trying to give feedback, right? Instead of which are judgmental comments that really are meaningless to children, especially if you say that to everybody, right? Oh, look how pretty. Oh, that's really nice.
Oh, I
Oh,
have a story about that.
uh-huh.
I had a student teacher who was already certified as an elementary school teacher, and he was going for additional certification in early childhood.
Mm-hmm.
And the class met twice a week. So, and he was an art teacher.
Mm.
So I told them all not to pass judgment on their artwork. And so the next class, he came running in, and before everybody else was finished sitting down, he started pointing and yelling, "You were right." And I'm looking around, who is he talking to? And I realized it was me. So I said, "Oh, I like that. What was I
Mm-hmm.
right about?" He said, "You said not to pass judgment." We took the kids to a nearby museum, and they had their clipboards and their pencils to sketch. And one girl's drawing was amazing. And they all spoke Spanish. So I said, "Que lindo." And she beamed and quit.
Oh.
And she didn't make another line.
Mm.
And he walked around to all the other children, and he came back to her and he said, "You stopped." She said, "Que lindo." And that was it. There was nothing I could have said to that class that could have taught them that lesson better than he did,
Yeah.
because it was in action the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And often when you pass judgment, even if it's good judgment,
Mm-hmm.
when you say you like this, that's what they want to keep doing, because they want you to like what they're doing.
Right. And they don't want to add to it because maybe you won't like it then. Right.
Exactly.
So I'm going to stop because I don't want you to not like it anymore. And that's the whole thing about where are they getting their motivation from, right? Is it because they they love what they did, or are they getting their motivation from a teacher that's saying, "Oh, that's pretty"? And that whole extrinsic intrinsic thing that we battle all the time with teachers. You don't need to reward them with a sticker for doing something that contributes to the classroom. you know wiping down the tables after snack does not earn a sticker. It's thank you so much for helping. That was
Because that's what we do. People help each other.
Yeah, yeah. And that programs in, I can do things to help people, and that makes me feel good, instead of I'm going to do this so I can get a sticker. It is probably part of the reason why we're in this mess we're in the US.
So I
So,
had another few questions to ask the adults.
mhm.
One of them was to play a board game with another adult or two or three,
Mhm.
and notice the interactions. What kind of conversation is there? Who in the group seems to care most about winning? How does not winning feel? Reflect on how children may feel if they don't win.
Mm.
Yesterday, there was a great conversation online. I don't remember what forum it was, about cooperation versus competition,
Mhm.
and how we should be teaching children more cooperative stuff and not rewarding competition so much.
Mhm.
And I've been in favor of that for a bazillion years. How are they going to learn to cooperate if we don't give them opportunities to practice, practice, practice?
Exactly. And when they're put into organized sports where someone is a winner and someone isn't, right? So that's the other big piece about the ancillary activities that school age children are often put in. They're going to softball practice, or they're going to soccer practice, or they're going to volleyball practice, or they're going to football, I hope not,
And
practice.
all of those things have a winner.
Yes.
A winner.
Mhm.
a lot of years ago, I was watching a football game, which I almost never do. I sometimes, one time I was told when they get the ball, yell, go, go, go. So they got the ball and I'm yelling, go, go, go. And then I'm told, no, wrong team, whatever. But all of these sports have a winner. So I was watching this football game and it was very close. And at the end, the score was tied. And I said, why can't they just both be winners? No, it doesn't work that way. Somebody has to win.
Somebody has to win. Somebody has to lose. That's just the way it is.
It's the way, and billions and billions of dollars are spent
Oh, yeah.
on all these sports activities where the winner is glorified. Look at the Olympics, where children spend hundreds of hours a week practicing the same thing over and over and over again. And then if they're lucky, they get on the team. And then if they get on the team, then they have to do it again and again. And there's only one gold medal. It's the whole philosophy is so backwards.
Yeah, it's winners and losers.
To what we want children to become.
Yeah.
So
So
gold medal winner is not the creative person. The hundreds of thousands of people who are aspiring to be the gold medal people are not creating. They're not just joyfully, independently playing. I feel sad for them.
yeah, I mean, their whole lives have been focused on one thing. Oh, Ellen, this has been wonderful. And so I love I think the examples of that play experience, no matter how long they're playing, really brings up some questions for people to be reflecting on as they're thinking about what they did and what they enjoyed about that play experience and the problems that they found and how they solved them, or where they went. That's what I found is I went back to childhood and I was reimagining a place where I played with my loose parts. And lots of people said that. Oh, I went back to a memory that I love when we were at the shore or when we were camping in the forest or when we were, and that's what I used. But I can't tell you what I made. I can just tell you that's what I was thinking about. And
that's the important part. So I am going to give everybody who's watching this an assignment. Just get some stuff. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's plastic containers in the kitchen. I don't care if it's the kids' toys or whatever. And just set a timer and spend 15 minutes just doing. And then think about it. And then you can relate that better to the work you do with children and play.
You can, because you have to experience it before you can reflect on it, right? And that's what children are doing. They're reflecting.
It's different when you're in that position than when you're just watching position.
Exactly. 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 Ellen, of course, always, thank you so much for everything.
Thank you. I love this.
I know. It's just so nice. It's just a lovely way to just reflect on the things that we've all been thinking about, that and gives us an opportunity to talk about them. So stay right there while I close this out. So to learn more about IPA USA, please visit our website at ipausa.org. And until next time, keep on playing.
Thank you again.